Welcome back to the Perception Coach podcast. And this is episode 61 of the podcast. It has been a year since my last episode, and there is good reason for that. And we will get into that in today's episode. But first, you need to know that I'm joined today by my good friend and mental health and relationship coach and author of the emotional fitness book, which is amazing, by the way, Star Jesse Taylor. Welcome, Star.
Thank you, John. I love to be here. I'm really excited.
Great to have you here. I also forgot to mention Star's got 1 million followers across all platforms. He puts out incredible content across TikTok, Instagram. Definitely go check it out. And you'll want to by the end of this conversation.
I am the best. Yes.
You are the best.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you.
We have many amazing chats. We dive deep. We share strategies and tools and techniques. And many of the time we don't record it. So today we get to really dive into a topic that is very important because I've just spent the last year or so writing a book called Start Before You're Ready. And Star is also a master of helping people start before you're ready. There is the bad boy.
If you I have my own personal with love from John. I don't know if that was okay for me to show it.
Of course it is. So yes, nice. Signed copy.
I felt
money
so happy.
Can't buy.
That's the first time someone made something like this for me, so I really appreciate it. And you're such a good friend, and I love having our conversations because they're always flowing, and because we both not in ego when we talk to each other, so we go give each other the space. And when we give each other space, people can express themselves and they can be the best they are. Not like some creators who just want to up each other. We bring the most value up because we give each other space.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's one of the things I love about you, Star, is that you put out insane amounts of value. The content you put out is life-changing for many people. And you can see by the comments, if you go on any of Star's videos and you look in the comments, you'll see how much value people are getting and how much they appreciate it. And that's what we both share, is we just want to help people to be free and do the things that they want to do. And one of the biggest blocks to that is waiting to feel ready. And it's waiting for the right time or the perfect mindset or having the perfect thoughts to be able to move forward. And today we're going to dive into what it really means to start before you're ready and what it really means to get out of your head and get into action. Because it's one thing for us to say, right, go out and take action. Just go do it, right? And that is as simple as it gets. But there's much more to that. What really does get in the way of us being able to take action and what gets in the way of us starting? We're going to dive into that and take a look at that in today's episode so that by the end of this, the time you spend with us today, you'll really kind of know how to get into action and what gets in the way so you don't have to let it get in the way any longer. So for you, Star, let's dive in and take a look at what really does stop people from starting in your experience.
What does stop people from starting? I think it's a variety of things. Sometimes it has to do with judgment from others, the fear of failure, people procrastinating because they think they're not ready yet, they're not good enough, they need to heal trauma first. I can just tell my own personal story. I very much believed and still believe in the law of attraction. But back in the day, I always thought I have to have the perfect vibration to do a podcast. I have to be ready. I have to be in the perfect state. I remember when I started coaching people 5 years ago, I always meditated before the coaching sessions because I thought I need to be in the perfect state, not knowing that this is a compulsion and showing my brain that there's danger. It's scary. You cannot just trust yourself. You cannot just move forward with any emotions and thoughts. But I think there's a great belief system that we can have is that emotions doesn't mean that we are not ready to move forward, because our direction, our GPS is our excitement, our passion, our goals. And on that way there's going to be a lot of emotions and thoughts. Mark Freeman always says, between you and what you want is a bathwater of emotions and thoughts. And I think I don't like to talk in black or white. People always like, oh, it's either the law of attraction or it's either the acceptance and commitment therapy. It's either you have to just do the actions and forget about the law of attraction, or you just have to do it with the law of attraction. Now, we all know in the law of attraction community, the law works at every moment on us. But what I'm actually trying to say here is there are many tools that we can use, and you don't have to identify with a certain area. And if we use the tools that work, that are also in John's book, that are in my book, use the tools that work, that bring you forward in the direction of living your life. Because all the trauma you have, all the judgments you have, the things that you want to fix, the trauma that you want to fix, you only want to fix them because you want to live your life. So I would say the most important thing is to live your life. This is also what Mark Freeman always says, is to live a life. And when you can be more obsessed about living your life than healing your trauma or healing something you're not ready yet, then you show your brain that you can trust yourself and you can move forward. So I know I didn't really, as always, answer your question in like, oh, what stops people? But I think I give some important things to think about, ideas, and I
100%.
want to
Yeah.
see what do you think about that?
Yeah, so in there, the things that really get in the way is we want to have the perfect way of doing something or the right way of doing something. So this stops many of us from taking action when we think, right, there is a right way to develop myself or improve my mental health, and it has to be this particular therapy or it has to be this particular method. And if there was just one right way, everybody would be doing it right, and everything else wouldn't work. And people will often tell you that their way is the only way,
Yeah,
but that ultimately then gets you kind of hooked on that trying to do things perfectly. But there are many different ways of getting to the same outcome, and you can have a blend of different tools and techniques. So letting go of that perfect one idea, and also the fact that you have to be completely and perfectly healed and feel great in order to take action and do the things you want to do, that's also a trap as well, because both of us have been in the helping profession for a long time now, and you're always still working on yourself and growing. Neither of us are perfect. I hate to say it, and
yeah,
if I can't be perfect, then who can be perfect? It's a case of there's still things that you're working through and you're understanding about yourself,
yeah,
and if you have to wait in order to be like completely feeling good and know all the answers and be completely healed, you'll never take the steps. So it's a balance between working and growing and taking the steps when you don't feel ready and you feel uncomfortable.
yeah. I want to say something that I think is really important. My self-concept changed the most when I made thousands of videos. I did the law of attraction. I raised my vibration, and I think I changed a lot of things for myself with the law of attraction, raising my vibration, my relationship with the world. I changed to a more loving way, which I think all led me to the point I came. And I can say that in 2020, when I quit my job, when my back was against the wall, and I started to make videos while not feeling ready yet, just building my business because I was with the back against the wall and I had to make money somehow. And I can tell you that my self concept changed the most through the success, through making the videos, through making thousands of videos, because it showed my brain proof, oh, I'm the kind of person who's doing this, you know? And it was always to a degree. Some people say, oh, easy for you to say, you had like, now you have 1 million followers. I didn't always have 1 million followers, but you will always have some sort of success, from 100 views to 1,000 views to 10,000 views to 100,000 views to 1 million views. And along the way, your brain changes. It's like, oh, I can do this. I remember calling my dad when I had like 100,000 views and was like, I can make this. I can make this. I can make this. Because if I had this once, I can do it again. And I'm telling you, my self concept changed about myself because I put a note in the world. I did things in the world. And yeah, that's what I think is part of start before you're ready. It's walking the path and being willing to use trial and error instead of making the perfect plan beforehand. People always ask me, but I don't really know what I'm doing. No one knows what they're doing. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. No one knows in the beginning what they're supposed to do, but you have to go in the direction. And when you walk the path, you will find out what you're really interested in. When you engage with the world, with the physical world, you understand the material. I only understood the material of social media when I did social media. Then I knew, oh, this is how you do a hook. Oh, this is how I look on. Oh, this is how I talk. Okay, this is how I communicate. Okay, this is how I present ideas. And I failed and I won and I failed and I won, but I learned through my failures. But you have to move forward and not make it be so impatient, be like, no, it has to work on the first. No, it works every time. If you just keep going, it works every time because you went evolution along the way. You learn along the way about everything.
Yeah, it makes me think of, one of the things that I literally used to live and I had no clue I was doing it was I would have everything planned out, what I was going to say, what I was going to do, everything how it was going to go before I would take the step. And it's like I'd have all these concepts in my head. So, if I was messaging someone, I need to sit down and think about all the things I'm going to say and reply to them perfectly and have it all set. And if I was going to do a podcast, I need to know every single question and what's going to happen. But it's one thing to be prepared, and there's a lot to be said about that. But life's a dance, and once you get in there, things don't go to plan. And
Yeah.
and that's why when you're really out there doing something, you figure it out by doing it and by just being present. And in the moment, you have this real time intelligence in you that is giving you the answers, that's telling you what you need to do. But in order to have that available, you do have to let go of the ideas of how you want it to go or how things should be perfectly, and then you get to kind of dance with that. For you, you changed your self concept. What was your self concept before you started making content, and what did it change to today?
Yeah. I don't know if I don't ever want to say I had a concept of low self worth, which I didn't. I mean, self worth is also to a degree, if we use these words, they're labels and you use them and people have certain ideas about them. But I don't really thought too much about my self concept, but you get reminded always of what you've done in life. Like you just look and you see what others been doing and you like, what I definitely have been doing is like, oh, I want to be more successful. I see all those people having these amazing things. I worked actually with a kids company. I went to a lot of celebrity houses like Kim Kardashian, Ben Affleck. I met them, their kids, and all kinds of like celebrities with kids. And their houses are amazing. Like they have the most beautiful houses. And they're beautiful people. A lot of them are beautiful people. People are always like, oh, they're rich and they're famous and they must be me. No. I'm telling you guys, some of the most nicest people are rich people and they're generous, where you have to clearly watch out is a lot of times poor people because they're trying to steal things. And I was broke. So, but my point here is that I was looking at this is something that I want. I want to also have a free life. I want to be successful. I want to be able to express myself. So I think my self concept was more of, okay, hopefully this is going to work out, but I have to do something for it. But it was never, I don't think a victim mindset self concept will ever work because you're going to get love for being a victim. And then you most likely stay in that victim mindset. So because I was abandoned from a young age, many times I was abandoned in my life. And even the first times later on when I was abandoned, I was crying. I was like, oh, the first seconds oh, is anybody? And no one came. But that was one of the biggest gifts that no one came because I realized then you wake up and like, okay, so no one comes. I have to do it for myself. And some people can say, oh, that's trauma. That's hard. It is hard, but it was a quick lesson for me. And even if you have support, you don't have to be abandoned to get that lesson. You don't have to be abandoned to get that lesson. But that lesson that you are your best friend, you are your best coach. I think the best answer to your question, how my concept before, I was always my own coach because I didn't have anyone to teach me. I had some mentors. My chiropractor gave me first time this Power of Subconscious by Joseph Murphy, The Law of Attraction by Rhonda Burns, and The Secret, sorry, by Rhonda Burns, and The Law of Attraction by Abram Hicks. But I learned these things, I took these tools and I practiced them and I became my own coach. I didn't even think about becoming a coach for other people. I just became my own coach. And I think it's important for people to become their own coach, to trust themselves the most and try things out. You can take tools from other people, but you need to become your own coach. So my self-concept was, I don't think it's good to have a self-concept too much because it's just keeping you in a prison in a box. It makes you, even self-concept, Mark Freeman taught me actually this. It's like if you have a self-concept of being a good person, the brain always comes in, it's like, oh, but this might be bad, this might be bad, this might be bad. And then you constantly do a fight of, am I good, am I bad, am I right, am I wrong? So self-concepts can really hinder you, even in ideology, because you chase then something that you get love from, a victim mindset ideology, even sometimes religions, even though I love a lot of religions, they help a lot of people. Because I know there's a lot of people in the spiritual community who are like, no, religion, no. I think there's, for people, it's good. See, people always do black or white, but there's a middle ground. But I would say for trusting yourself and making yourself your own authority, it's important to maybe for me, it's important to go in the direction what works, not to be married to an ideology. So I think if you ask someone about my self-concept, I always try to figure out what works. And then I try things out. But until I became successful, you don't really know. I didn't really know what I could do in the world. I thought I was smart, but then when I put creations out there, I think it's a lot about creating things, us being a creator, not a consumer. And then when you put things out in the world, your self-concept of yourself changes. I
Yeah.
talked a lot, like I was, sometimes you have to stop me when I'm like jumping too much. My brain is like 100 miles an hour, but I hope that was coherent. Sometimes
Yeah,
I don't like to stupid things down because I know I have to, be so linear and try to go linear. Maybe I can be better with that. And sorry,
mate.
last thing I want to say
Yeah.
is I also feel uncertainty on this podcast. I also want to do a good job. Like for the listener out there, don't think like I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh yeah, it's so great, it's so easy. It's no. I also want to be successful. We also want to be successful. We also still have uncertainty. Anybody who's telling you not, they're lying. Uncertainty is okay. But then we
Yeah.
act on our values, and the more we do it, yeah, this podcast is easier than the podcast I did 100 times ago. Of course, you get better and better. But there's still uncertainty and you still get used to it. It's a practice, it's a training. It's never a graduation. You never get like a piece of paper and you're like, oh, you're done. You never have things. These emotions are normal. It's just how you deal with them. And if you deal with them, oh, they wrong, they wrong, they wrong, you get more anxiety because your brain is an algorithm. And whatever you engage with, you get more of it. But I can tell you, I also feel uncertainty and also have thoughts coming in. Oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Am I jumping too much from topic to topic? Is the listener going to follow? But I'm trying to come back, okay, to certain GPS systems. I like to come to certain GPS systems, and it's different ones at times. One is I want to give as much value as I can because I know value always works because you guys listen because we give value. Number two is I do believe in intuition. So I also want to go with what feels light. So it's a balance. That's just me.
Yeah. And it's a dance, right, between what you what you know and what you don't know, and what you don't know is going to happen. So that you can go on as many different podcasts as you want. You can understand what you're going to say as much as possible. And then also, there's going to be things you just can't prepare for, or things you don't know are going to happen. And so, having that feeling of not knowing and being okay with not knowing, um, that's really the key. Because if we have to know that we're doing something perfectly, not make any mistakes, get it all right, it's just a real restriction that again it starts to go into that black and white mindset. So that's really success or failure, or I got it right or I got it wrong, or it works or it doesn't. And there's no room for the gray in between. There's no room for the the different levels to it. And what that can do is it can put us in a place where we have certain rules that we have of like, I have to do it this way.
Yeah.
And if I don't, that's not okay. And part of the freedom that we can experience is breaking free from the rules. So it's looking at what are those rules that I place on myself for how I need to show up, and which ones of those are helpful and which ones of those are not helpful. And then you can start to break them. And if you have a rule that I need to go on and perform perfectly or say the right thing, that's going to be very restrictive because you'll be happy when it works and you'll be anxious and frustrated when it doesn't. But if you were to let that go and say, I can show up in a way that's authentic and fun for me, then you can start to experience more freedom. And that self concept that you're talking about, really that's the thing that, our self concept is an idea we have about ourselves. It's a story we have about ourselves that determines what we do or what we don't do. And many of us start with the that self concept of not being our own coach, right? And feeling like somebody else might come along and save us, or feeling like the world is happening to us. And that can be a very uncomfortable place to be in. And then you can move from that life's happening to me into life's happening by me, where, yeah, I can be independent. I can do the things I want to do. I can figure it out. I can take the steps. And that gets us further along the journey until we then move into a place that I call life's happening through me or through us. And that's where you just start trusting. So, yeah, I have a plan. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. And when I'm not so trapped in the rules and I'm not so trapped in a past story about what's possible for me, I can open up to the opportunities that are available and start to then trust my intuition, listen to it, and start to take the steps. And, one thing that I work with my clients on, and one thing that's been helpful for me is really looking at what you want and then starting to step into that self concept. So you're right, self concept and self image is a limitation, it's a box. And we all have one, right? We all have an idea of ourselves, an identity that we live into. And many of us just get it given to us. It's almost like someone gives you a set of clothes and you put them on and you wear them. And then we never question it, even though those clothes might not fit and don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable. And then at some point you say, actually, if I could wear anything, this is what I'd want to wear. And once you start changing that, and initially it feels uncomfortable because you haven't worn it, even though it's what you really want, but you keep doing it and then it feels normal over time. But what I help people do is step into that new version now. So if someone was building social media, for example, and they're starting off with a couple of hundred followers, but they want a million, it would be, if you already had a million followers, how would you be showing up? What value would you create? What
Yeah.
content would you make? How would you see yourself and how would you feel? And when you start acting from that place, you're going to start creating those kind of results. And the balance with this is that you won't feel ready for that because you haven't been that person yet, even though it's what you really want. And there will be a battle that goes on, and the battle is, this is exciting and this is really fun and this is what I really want. And another part of you is going to say, but this isn't me. I'm a fraud. That, I can't do this. And it's that voice that wants to try and keep you safe. And so having awareness around your self-image, your self-concept, knowing how you see yourself and not being too attached to it, but actually having that choice, you can take the steps forward and start creating the life you want from a new self-concept, and living into that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I think also give the listener, because there's a lot of coaches and gurus who always say, you have to do it exactly this way. You have to do it exactly that way. You have to have this belief system. And especially me also as a when I was younger, my early 20s, etc., I always thought, yes, I have to do exactly the same what they said. And I was very ambitious and I tried it all out. And so I jumped from teaching to teaching a lot. And but really thought, okay, I need to do it exactly like them. Just later on, I figured out, no, I am the book or I am the receiver, and I just need to choose the puzzle pieces that work for me. So, what I always kind of want to give, what a lot of people don't do, and I think you agree with it, is to make the other human that I coach, the human that asks for advice, to show them that they can trust themselves. yes, you have to lower the voice first off to get to your intuition, as you said. But when you do the practice of meditation, when you do the practice of following your excitement, when you do the practice of spending more time outside of your mindfulness, and you lower the noise to trust yourself that your path is not the other person's path. They got successful that way. Alex Hormozy actually said it recently. I really loved it. He said, if any billionaire or millionaire could show their lottery ticket, here, this was my lottery ticket. But you cannot use it because it was their lottery ticket. Ticket is already used. You're going to have your own lottery ticket. And I think it's important to tell people about the imperfection along the way, about that it's not right or wrong. It's not black or white. It's everything's to a degree. Like you can start out faking it. Like I started out screaming, like being really loud, almost like some people would say obnoxious on social media, just like being, because I wanted the attention. I was so hungry. I used to drive Uber or Lyft. I was with my back against the wall. I was abandoned. I was bullied for 7 years in school. So I was like, I'm going to get this attention. And it worked. It's not bad. That was my tool. That's what I use. And over time, I realized, oh, I can do it without it. But that time, I'm proud of me being all like putting all this performance on. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. This is not something bad. This is something good. This is a tool that I use. And why I say this is I think it gives people who listen more space to be themselves, to try things out, to be creative. Because really, I do believe this more and more. The more you connect with yourself and the more you find what works for you, the more truly successful you will be. What works for Gary Vee, what works for Alex Hormozy doesn't have to work. Yeah, there are tools, there are structures. And I love what Gary Vee says. It's not or, it's and. So for the listener, I think they get more. There was something else I want to say, but I think that's also important for people.
Yeah, your path's going to change at different points in time. I remember a number of years ago, I got into intermittent fasting and I found it's a really great way to get into shape. I found like it was really good for my skin, cleared up, and I had really great skin and I felt really good and had lots of energy. And I did it for a period of time. And then it was like, well, now I'm just an intermittent faster, and that's the best way, and that's how you should
Mhm.
do it. And I remember hearing there's a fitness coach called Brandon Carter, and he was talking. He
I
was
know him, yeah.
yeah, he
I
was.
watched
I
him.
think he was in the he was in the keto space, so he
Yeah,
would talk a lot about that. And then he made a video saying you don't have to just be keto. You could actually do this for a period of time and then do fasting, and then you could do that and then do something else. You don't have to stay stuck. And just hearing that woke it up in me, the
his
possibility of that. And
conviction,
then
right?
yeah, I found like I will cycle it. So I might do intermittent fasting for 3 to 6 months, and then that feels like it's not the right move for me. And then I'll go back to eating just regular hours, and then I'll feel a pull back in to do the fasting. And it's you don't have to do one or the other. So that what the way to look at this is just what you do gets you towards where you're going. So the behaviors you're doing, the person you're being, gives you certain results in life, and sometimes that's going to work and sometimes it's not going to work. But ultimately, it's just knowing you've got the choice to change that if you don't want it. And that's where you can really start to experience the freedom. But when we're stuck in a pattern of habit or thought or identity and we feel like we can't change, that's when we're not really seeing it. We don't have that freedom. And that's when you can be in that kind of black and white mindset of it has to be like this or it can't be like that. And we want to do things perfectly. But as you let go of that, you start to experience more freedom and more opportunities ultimately open up. So for you, what would you say is the key to starting before you're ready or getting out there and taking action?
Um, I think people want the answer of being successful, right? Whatever, like, what they want is when we talk about starting before you're ready, because the reason why we talk about starting before you're ready is let's say you want to be successful on social media, you have to make a certain amount of posts a day for you to practice, for you to be able to get a skill. Like, let's say ice skating compared to social media. If you want to be professional ice skater, and you only ice skate once a week, practice. It doesn't make sense. But the first time you practice, you will fall down, you will get up, etc. And we know that from sports. We know from sports that we have to practice and we're going to fall down in the beginning. We don't have the balance. Now, what's weird is in life, we don't understand that it's also a skill. It is a skill. And the same when you start playing soccer, when you make social media posts. In the beginning, you don't have the balance. But that's okay. That's a big, like, you have to accept that. The thing is that people, especially grown-ups, have all this fear of judgment. And they think they have to be perfect or they get judged right away in the beginning. Like, when I look at the videos that I did years and years ago, I can see so many things that I'm doing different now, but it's because I got more skills over time. So I think start before you're ready is really practicing and allowing yourself to be free to practice and explore. You know what? A better word, and Mark Freeman talks about this a lot, exploring. Give yourself the ability to explore. Because the reason why people have this start before, it seems like a little wall, right? Start before you're ready. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Because you define readiness as the results. It's your expectations. I have to have these certain results because other people are going to watch me, or I'm going to watch myself and I'm going to be disappointed by myself. But when you make it about exploring, it gives you more breath. Okay, I'm going to explore. I'm going to make 4 TikToks a day for the next 6 months, and I'm not going to look at the results. It's taking out the importance. I think start before you're ready is such a great message because it really comes down to the repetition. Because the repetition of what you want to do eventually is what gives you the skill, but it also gives you the understanding of what you're doing. A tennis player does know exactly the muscle memory in their arm to swing, but over time, in the beginning, they're like, oh, I don't really know. All right. So I think when you lower the importance and then start before you feel ready, because it's a feeling of, oh, am I ready or not? You just start and you continue for this certain amount of months. All right. Because the only people who are not going to go ahead, they are the ones who give up. But I can tell you, if you make like 1,000 posts and you're just trying to get better and better and better, you will change your self-concept along the way and you will learn about yourself. What just is in the way of people is giving up. They give up after a week because they look at the results right away, right? And the start before you're ready is so great because there might be the feeling of not being ready, but you just say, I'm just going to explore and I'm just going to do these actions. And I give myself some time to be a beginner to 6 months, a year. It should be like a time frame that you give yourself that you can see improvement. And along the way, it's about lowering the importance because it's the importance and it's the pressure and it's the focus on results that creates resistance. That resistance is what makes people give up. So start before you're ready. To me, it means, yes, definitely you go in the direction of your passions. Even if the brain says you're not good enough, you're not ready, because that's just the programming. That's the old programming from the past. And you have to differentiate from it. And you have to be okay with it. It has to be okay because it tries to pull you back into the safety. Because as a kid, you weren't ready to engage with that. But now you're an adult, the kid is still screaming, no, we're not ready, we're not good enough. You're like, okay, kid, that's okay. I'll take you by the hand and we do it anyway. This is the most loving thing you can do for the kid because the kid's self-concept, the kid will change because in the beginning it's like throwing up. It's like, no, 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 they're going to bully us. We can't do it. And you just over time take the kid over time and you try to do it also in a gentle way where you lower the resistance. No, we're just exploring, kid. We're just exploring. It's not death or life. We're just exploring. It's okay. So you do like a combination. And then you take the child along the way. And I'm telling you, after months and months and months and months and months, the child's going, it's not so bad. It's we made a lot of podcast episodes. We're actually pretty good. I'm sorry I threw up on you. I was scared. I'm a child. So the start before you're ready is just know it's a knowing that this is I think what we give is like this knowing that if you just continue you changing that self-concept and your brain changes, the little child changes, and you have to be known about the patterns that they are that this is just your brain being scared. It's just your little child being scared. But you have to be the adult now, moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of this is not reacting. So the little child you're talking about is, our inner child, and acknowledging our inner child. It's that the child programs and thoughts and beliefs that we formed in the earlier parts of life. And some of those don't get updated. So you can be an adult with child beliefs running the show. And I have a process actually in the book um, to work with your inner child to be able to let go of caring what people think about you, because this is one of the things as well with when it comes to judgment, is that we might feel like, oh, well, I shouldn't be worried what other people think about me, or I shouldn't have the fear of judgment. Everybody has those fears. Everybody cares what people think about them, and everyone has the fear of judgment. And it's higher in the beginning when you're doing something new because you might fail. If you're doing something new, you've never done it before, then that fear is going to go up. And as you do it over time, it drops down and you feel more secure in yourself. But it's
Mhm.
showing yourself that you can do it, as just like you said, taking a child by the hand. Our son just started school a couple of weeks ago, and it's his first few weeks. And yesterday, as I was taking him into school, we got up towards a gate, and he said, "Daddy, I don't want to go in. I'm nervous." And I said, That's okay. It's all right to feel nervous. You can feel nervous, and also you can be brave as well, and you can go in, and it's going to be okay." And I literally take him by the hand and lead him to the gate. And he really didn't want to go in. And just as we got to the gate, it was ramping up, and my wife was there, and he wants his mum, and he's like really putting it on and saying, like, "I don't want to go in." We said, "That's okay, and you're okay. You can do it." And as he went in, the teacher took him, and he turned back and just waved and smiled, and he was all happy, and he went in. And that's his way of dealing with fear and dealing with those emotions, and all of it's perfect, and it's working with ourselves in that moment. So he doesn't feel ready to go in, but he can.
Yeah,
So, but if we react to him and we say, "Oh yeah, no, this is terrible," and then we're all scared, and we don't show him that he can be safe and be okay, he's going to learn that maybe this isn't safe, and maybe I
yeah,
can't handle it, and maybe I can't do it. So we're reinforcing that. So understanding yourself and these different parts of yourself, that's the thing that you can make it okay to not feel ready, to have some of the fears show up and not let them stop you from doing the thing. And as you're saying, with practice over time, when you do it repetition, 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 my son will go into school, he'll get used to it, it will feel safe. And the same's true for us. We might be doing a podcast, or starting a new project, or doing something that we really want to do that's brand new. And in the beginning, you don't feel ready, and that you're not meant to. You're not
yeah.
meant to feel ready. You're not meant to feel certain. You're not meant to feel perfect. And that letting go of the resistance is the thing that frees you up to actually get home in your body, feel good about yourself, and then actually take the steps.
The worst thing you can do with an emotion is make it wrong. Because the
Mm,
more you make it wrong, the more you hate on it, the more you want it to go away, the more you engage with it. It's like an algorithm. It's like a social media algorithm. The more you engage with it by saying, no, 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 not this emotion, not this emotion. I just wanted to go away. No, 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 no. The brain's like, oh, you love this. You engage with this a lot. because the brain doesn't know, yeah, I like it or I don't like it. The brain only knows, oh, are they engaging with this a lot? So you engaging with, but like, no, 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 not ready yet, not this. Oh, I want to avoid it. No, 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 no. The brain's like, yes, yes. Oh, you love this. Let me give you more of this. Let me make it more excessive. And that's where mental health problems come in. That's where excessive anxiety comes in. That's where ADHD, BPD, OCD comes in, because you just ramp up the algorithm by engaging really crazy with that emotion. And that's why the analogy that you brought is so beautiful, because you talked about your son and you said, if I, as an adult, freak out about what they freak out, they're going to be like, what? I'm a child? You an adult? I freak out about this? But you should be the adult, the big adult, and you freak out about this? This must be even more scary. So that's why you don't want to freak out about the feeling of not being ready yet. You'd be like, I can have this feeling and I'll move forward. And right now, you probably have already a lot of excessive feelings, but you can, how do you call it, reverse engineered? Because you brought it in the one direction by freaking out about it. And now you can be like, okay, this is a harder feeling now because I engaged with it a lot. I can have this feeling, I accept it, but I move forward in the direction of my valued actions. And when you do that over time, the funny part is, because you're not engaging with that pattern, the brain makes it inactive over time. It's literally like an algorithm.
Yeah, and I think being able to be with that and feel those uncomfortable emotions and get, I know you're great at doing this and you help people with this as well, and it's feel comfortable with the discomfort, feel comfortable with all the emotions, and stay in the game, stay in that situation, take the actions. You're teaching yourself that you can handle it, because there's a couple of ways we can do it. Sometimes you do put your big boy or big girl pants on and you take the step and you go do it straight away, and that happens. And sometimes you need to just be present with, yeah, I'm not feeling it right now, I'm feeling scared, and that's okay, and I can take the action. And then you kind of get in there and you make it happen. And I think I love what you said about being exploring, because
Mhm.
that's what we're really doing. When it becomes important about just the outcome of, I have to feel calm, this has to go well, I have to succeed. Again, you're just creating so much pressure. But when it's exploration, it's about, what am I going to learn from this
Yeah.
situation? What am I going to uncover? What am I going to discover? How much experience can I get? That's where you really start to get an experience within yourself. So you do the thing and you get memory in your body and in your mind about how it works. And that's how kids learn so fast, is that they get experience. They pick things up and they move them around and they know what it feels like. And they make mistakes and then they learn. They go out and it's cold and they don't have their coat on, and they feel that they want to then put a coat on. Versus if we tell them, you have to put a coat on, they don't learn what it feels like to have that cold. So your emotions work with you to help you understand yourself when you're not run by with them, but when you're with them instead. And I have a section in the book on, rather than exploration, I love that term because I think it links really well. I talk about experimentation versus like a test, and becoming an experimenter. So if you're starting something new, experiment, try it out, see what works, see what you like, see what you need to do, rather than having it have to go, well, this is a test. So, you might have a project or a presentation or a podcast, and rather than this having to succeed and go, well, let me try it and see what happens. And then you're getting curious and you're getting to know it. It's the same as if you meet somebody new. And you say, right, when I meet someone new, and perhaps you go on a date and you say, this has to go well, or it's a question of, do I like them or do I not like them? Now we're back in that black and white mindset
Yeah.
of success, failure, and
Yeah.
it's like you're on the edge the whole time. Versus, let me get to know them.
Yeah.
Let me find out about them. Let me explore and let me experiment and meet different people and see what I like and what I don't. And getting in there, it's like you've got the dance of it all, the fun of it all, and that's where you really get to experience life. And that's what this whole journey of, like, not feeling ready. You're not meant to, right? You're going to feel like an imposter sometimes. You're going to not feel good enough. And there's a couple of different ways we can play this. And I think what you said about the brain being an algorithm, and the fact that if you focus too much on the feeling or you're trying to get rid of something, you create more of it. 100%. Because That's what these coping strategies we have. When we don't feel ready and then we put it off or we avoid it, the brain learns, well, you put it off and you get a sense of relief and you feel good in the moment. So you think, well, next time I feel uncomfortable, I'm going to do the same thing because we reinforce that. But there is the other option that we've got is if you go through it and take those steps, guiding yourself through the process, you then get that sense of achievement. I did that difficult thing and I didn't die and I'm okay. And you might have some success, but you get some experience. You get that sense of achievement, whether you succeed or fail, in my opinion. And then that feels good. And you can reinforce a different pattern, a positive pattern. And that's where you really can change the relationship with yourself, your mental health. Ultimately, you create more sense of inner security, which doesn't come from just feeling good, feeling calm all the time. It actually comes from being able to navigate your inner landscape and take action and do the things you want to do.
Yeah. Um, I think I want people to have an additional part of the formula because what I truly believe is in start before you're ready, you have to also love the thing that you're doing. What I mean with that is you don't have to perfectly love it. You don't have to know what you love, but you have to make it lighter. You have to lower the resistance. And you have to find ways of doing the things that you're doing, the things that you're trying out, like social media, whatever projects you're doing, of making them fun, of making them light, of exploring, to lower the importance. Because you're going to give up if you don't at least make it lighter. But the lighter you make it, the more you want to do it. And the more you want to do it, the better you get at it. So I think being lighter with it and finding ways to make it more fun, to make it more unique, to bring your own touch to it. If you make a video on social media, maybe you like a certain music that you want to bring in. I remember when I started with social media, I would analyze movies that I liked, psychologically analyzed movie scenes because I enjoyed the movie scenes. It was like Good Will Hunting and other movies, Titanic, and I just found it enjoyable to make these scripts and analyze. But that was my thing. And you have to ask yourself it's also about asking questions. I always tell people you can ask really bad questions, like what are they going to think? Am I even ready yet? Am I going crazy? What are these intrusive thoughts? Or you can ask good questions. How can I make this more fun? What do I want to grow? What do I want to do? How can I make this lighter? How can I make this about exploring? How can I make today fun? How can I make these actions? They don't have to be fun. How can I make them funner? Or how can I make them suck less? Like, find the ways that work for you, but your brain wants to answer questions. And ask yourself good questions that support you in living your life, in moving forward and growing the things you want to grow.
Yeah, I think that, the questions that we ask ourselves ultimately are what create the answers that we live into. And some of those open-ended questions that have no answer, like, am I good enough? Or how do I get rid of these thoughts? There's no answer. You can't get an answer to it. So you're going to keep searching
Yeah.
forever. And that's what drives overthinking. And you end up in what I call a holding pattern where you go round and round and round and don't take action. That's why just taking action in itself is a really powerful step because you break out of that mental prison. um, and it's really just kind of connecting back with yourself, um, and being okay with that, but taking the steps anyway. Otherwise, we get stuck, and you just end up repeating the same patterns. And there are some really positive questions that you can ask yourself. And one thing I will share is that because this podcast will be going out a day before Start Before You're Ready, my book is launched. For those of you that do order before the launch date, so up until the 30th of September when it's out, I will be doing a live webinar where I'll be running through a 4-step process for getting into action and sharing a power question. And this is my favorite question that will help people to um, shift from getting stuck and worrying about what's going to happen, and all of the other stuff that stops people and actually gets people focused on what the purpose is, and getting motivated to take action. So I'll be running through that webinar on the 14th of October. So I will put a link for that into the description of the podcast. Um, but it's really, for me, the keys with that is, number one is purpose. When we're just doing something because we think we should or we have to, and we're not enjoying it, then the motivation is low. That's why quite often when people say, I want more discipline, well, what do you want it about? If that's around your health or your relationship, you want discipline because that's going to be something that improves your life, versus I just want to be disciplined. Even if you do want that, just inquire, like, why is discipline important to me? How would that improve my life? So you get purpose around it. And then the other element you mentioned is joy, which is really so key. Is, are you going to enjoy it? How can you make it enjoyable? And when you do find ways like that are authentic to you and fun for you specifically, and that's different for all of us, then you can actually find creative ways to get to an outcome or do the thing you want to do that make it more exciting for you. And then you can look forward to it. And you
Yeah.
can do that with anything. For some people, they like a more rigid, structured approach. Great, go do that. For some people, they like it more free flowing and with more humor involved and everything. So it really is really about finding what works for you.
Yeah, and I think what's in the way of most people answers are just thought, right? We talked about with the three principles by Sydney Banks, where he talks about thought, consciousness, and mind. But thought is, when, if people don't know, mind is like the entire energy, everything, the intelligence, the universal intelligence, I would say. Maybe you want to correct me, but I think it's universal intelligence. Consciousness is the awareness, it's you being aware of what's going on, your awareness in the world. And thought is either you use thought or thought uses you, because you identified with thought. I'm telling you, if you find more ways to slow down thought with meditation, or slow down thought just in general by going general, like with Abraham Hicks, all kinds of tools, then you can trust more your intuition. And I think trusting yourself more of, I saw today this Kyle C's video, great, about finding your body, like the truth of your body, that your body is psychic. And when you can connect to your body, when you have decisions, and it's the intelligence of your body, you can make good creative choices. You can make enjoyable choices. But you have to make sure that it's not coming from the ego, that it's not coming from the patterns. But I really love the idea of that we have this intelligence in the body, and that when we are an open channel, when we open channel, we can only be an open channel when we drop the resistance, and the resistance comes through thought. But when we're this open channel, that then we can make decisions based on our highest good, and we can get more skillful at that. So, but we have to play with that. We have to drop the thought. We have to lower the resistance, and then we have to practice with our intuition. What feels lighter? What feels more exciting? You know?
Yeah, then all of that happens in the present moment. So we can only ever be connected with ourselves and our experience in the present moment. And when we're off in our head too much and lost in thought, we're actually out of the present experience. So we're often thought in an imagination, like a fantasy about how we think that we want things to be, or these concepts about it. And when you drop into your body and you drop into your awareness, you get present, and then you really tune into, what am I experiencing in the moment? And that's where it's like the grounding place to start from is, what am I feeling right now? I'm feeling a bit nervous, or I'm not feeling ready. What am I thinking that's kind of contributing to that? And then you can think, well, because I haven't done it before and I should have done it, or whatever else is coming up. And you can just be with that. And that's when you can drop that story and actually step into, all right, I might not feel ready, but I'm making the decision that I am. And ultimately that's what it really is. You don't feel ready, but you can decide that you are. And when you then take the steps from that place, that's where ultimately the magic can happen.
Yeah, I love this. In your book, you also describe it like dropping the stories.
Yeah.
You know, that's so important to drop your stories. Like, I love the book because it's a combination of going before you're ready, dropping the stories, and then, but you also bring in intuition. You also bring in the excitement and the goals. So, but yeah, the dropping the stories, you're really good at that and changing the perspective. Because we all think, because of how we grow up, oh no, this is a certain way, and I always got treated this way. Even me, I'm learning right now to receive more goodness from people. To know that I'm deserving of more goodness from people. Because I got bullied for 7 years. And so you feel like people treated me bad, and that's normal, right? But now I'm like, I'm getting there now where it's like, oh no, I'm actually deserving goodness. I'm deserving to be treated well. And I see how the old story came from that bad experience. But now I have to relearn it. And part of that for me is to also remind myself, oh no, I'm a respectable human being. I need to be respected here in this situation. And that's all what I'm going to expect here from these people. Anything else, I'm going to say no. So yeah, I love the
Yeah.
dropping stories that you talk about.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the thing, right? So our stories are what we live into. They're what, even from a law of attraction perspective, they're what create our reality and our experience. So we have a story about each other. We have a story about the world. We have a story about what's possible. And our goal in life is to remain consistent with what our stories are. That's how we have a sense of self. You know, this is who I am and this is what I'm up to. And then we end up protecting and defending our stories, which is why without awareness, it's very difficult to change. You end up stuck in the same patterns. So when you see those stories you have, and I do have an exercise in the book around perception, seeing what that is, getting clear on it, and then looking at what's the life you want and what stories are you going to need to live into and to make a commitment to in order to create that life. That's where you get to transform things. And really, for me, like not feeling ready is it's the new story and the old story bumping up against each other, right?
Yeah.
I can go and do this. I can make this big leap in my life, in my business, in my relationship. And you've got an old story that says, that's not me. That's not possible. You can't do that. That's not safe. And they bump up against each other and you feel uncomfortable and you don't feel safe. And it's about having the awareness to choose which story you're going to start breathing life and energy into. And ultimately, as you and I both know, taking the actions that make that a reality. And
So do
so
you
with
just
actions,
choose the story? Is it just as simple as choosing a new story?
choosing a new story, and what I've come to learn even deeper recently, just be honest with yourself about the old story and when it shows up, and be okay with when it does show up and that experience you have. Because when you can tell yourself the truth about what you're experiencing with your emotions and your thoughts and your stories, that's what transforms it. But when we try and deny it, when we try and avoid it or hope it kind of goes away, it's running the show in the background. I think of it as like the story being in the back seat of the car and you're driving in the front. But when you forget that your old stories are there, which is ultimately like your ego, and you're like, no, I'm invincible. I can do whatever I want. It starts driving for you subtly, whispering and just kind of pulling the strings. But just having that awareness that, there's a part of you that will not care what people think, and there's a part of you that does and maybe always will. Just acknowledging that, but not letting it control you. You then bring yourself back to a place of choice where you can drive the car essentially and decide where you're going to go in life. So we're coming up for time now.
Hmm.
I've really loved this conversation. I mean, we could chat for another couple of
Yeah, me
hours, to be
too.
honest. And I would love to have you back on the podcast soon. And we've actually been talking about a few ideas so that can explore
Yeah, I
more
would love
and
to do
experiment with
more.
more
Maybe we do a regular podcast together,
for sure. I think it's definitely a
a
possibility
weekly
because
podcast. I would love to.
there's so much we can go into. So if that is something that you guys would really look forward to and would love to hear, drop Star or myself a DM and let us know if you'd love
Yeah,
to see us.
let us know if you would be excited for John and me a weekly podcast about all kind of different subjects because we have so much to
Yeah,
talk about. We always talk in private together, and we
we
would be like,
do.
"Oh, this recording should be out there," you know?
We have these kind of conversations, And yeah,
And I think
behind
the
closed
more we
doors.
would talk, the more easier it would be also for us, you know?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And we get into a flow
Yeah. In a
and
flow.
find a kind of way of getting the value out there. You've had a quick dip into the book. Any
Mhm.
last thoughts around what you've experienced from it so far and
Yeah,
what people might expect
let
if
me
they're
just grab it here. I was so impressed. First of all, cover is really well done. But the most important thing is, does this actually transform someone's life? And I can tell you, I read so many self-help books, and when I was reading it, I was like, you know what? This is so great because there's no fluff in here. There's so many people who have a lot of fluff in their books of things that could work or sounds good. And I hate that stuff. Like, I want to give people things that I know actually work, that are useful for a person's life. Because things can sound good. They can so sound so super catchy and good. But these tools in here, there's tools in here, there's exercise in here, and there's perspective changes in here. And I'm telling you, if you take this serious, this will give you so much value because, like I said, it's useful things in here. It's actually things that work to get over procrastination and to live your life in a different way. So, and you know what? Also, I know John for, I don't know, 3, 4 years now. And he's one of the few people that I trust. And he's like me, where I know when he has clients, he cares about serving them. He cares about, um, it's like, it's an honor, it's a privilege because we are helping people with their lives. And I know that's his attitude, and that's not everybody's attitude. That's his attitude. His attitude is, he sees it as an honor to have a person in front of him that they're like, you have to imagine, like, people, it's only people with empathy who understand this. Like, we are so important to ourselves, right? I'm so important to myself. You viewer, you are so important to yourself. Imagine the person that you see, they feel as important with themselves as you feel with yourself. And there's only a certain amount of people, and I know John is one of them, who's like, yes, I have empathy. Like, I want to help this person as much as I can. So I know he tried. I was talking to you during the process of writing the book. And it's not easy to write a book like this. He could probably tell you a lot about himself. Maybe he's going to post about it. But he put so much work in it, and it was real. I can tell you, because as a viewer, you always think, okay, did they just write the book to make money? Did they write the book to write a book, right? I can tell you, he was serious about, like, he was very serious about writing a great book. He was serious. He put a lot of effort in that. So to me, this is such a great book because it's actually useful. And I think these are all the words. I don't want to bring too fluffy in here. And yeah, I'm excited also to get the audiobook. But there's so many, even if when I just read this, right? Let me just read a few things here. Change your state, right? There is one that I read here, Escape the Overthinking Trap. It's just, he doesn't have only one side that he addresses. He has so many different sides. He doesn't leave out. I mean, no one's perfect, right? You can always in a year, I can bring this in my new book, right? But he attacks this. I think the goal with this book, and this is just my way of saying it, I think the goal with this book is to help you to live your passions, to live your goals, to live your life, to express yourself. And he came at it from all the angles, from all the angles. Yeah, I mean, if even if like John, you can better say this than I am. How you divided the book, how you started out the book. Maybe let people know like how you attack the procrastination and living your life from all angles.
yeah. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate your kind words. And yeah, I did. One of the things is I actually love writing, so I loved the process of writing the book, and it was important to be able to put in all of the tools and strategies in a way that you can the reader can enjoy and like I wanted this to be an experience, so not just a book where it's great information but it's a little bit boring, or it's just entertaining and it's a combination of it. My intention is for you to enjoy the experience of reading it and for it to be fun, and at the same time transform and learn something that can change your life. And there's definitely something in there for everybody. If you take just one thing away from the book and go and apply it that would be relevant for you, it can have a big impact. And there's plenty in there for you to keep coming back to whenever you get stuck by in procrastination or overthinking or imposter syndrome. You'll have the tools you need to break out of those traps and ultimately connect with yourself and follow your passions and do what you love. That's what I'm here to help people with. And I know, Star, you're passionate about helping people to be themselves and live life on their terms as well. And that's why we love having these conversations and love creating content, working with people one on one, and ultimately having a book out there as well, and having people be able to read it. So
Yeah, I love that. I want to say
yeah.
one last thing. One last thing. And yeah, you can keep it or but I'm not the kind of person who because I have a high feeling of morals where
Mm,
even if it's my friend, if I don't like the thing, I will not recommend it because I feel like like people just trust me and they like care about my word. There's a few people that I'll always recommend in my life. It's Mark Freeman, it's Abraham Hicks, it's Bashar, it's Michael Singer, it's Eckhart Tolle. And if you are serious about like self-help and self-growth, you probably know a few people that I mentioned, and you know these people are the real deal. And I probably forgot a few people, but these are people I know that give so much, right? And I know coaches out there as well. And John is just a good person, and he's really good at what he does. And what I mean is exactly why he says the perception coach. He was coaching me at times. I was coaching him. We coach each other. And I wouldn't let just a random person coach me. He's good at what he does, and he's good at changing your perception. Like he's good at asking questions, and he's so sensitive to small little things, and he's loving and caring, and all that is in this book. Trust me, if you read it and you say, "Oh, why'd you recommend it?" Da-da-da, and you write me, I stand behind it. Like it's
mm,
you know, it's a it's yeah. I think I already said enough. It's you put your heart in it. You know,
yeah, thank you, bro. Yeah,
yeah.
I did,
I
and I
stand
think
behind what I said.
I really appreciate that. It means a lot. And yeah, I've put everything in there, and it's the best book it could possibly be. And you can also have that feeling of you wish you put more in it. And when I finished it and sent it off to the publishers, there was that, oh, and I would love to put this in and this in and this in, and I realized that would never be in the book because that will be the next book or the next book. It's the journey of you put it out there and you do the best
Yeah.
you possibly can. And if it's aligned, it's all happening perfectly. And so I hope my intention is that this book can help people to connect with that aspect of themselves and get out there and follow your intuition, follow your passions, and ultimately be more of yourself as well along the journey. So thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, John.
Really
I appreciate it.
appreciate your kind words. Appreciate the value you shared on the podcast today. I'm sure there's going to be more of us together in the future. If you're listening to this podcast today, this is the day before the book is out there for launch. Pre-orders make a big difference. So if you're on the fence of grabbing a copy, I encourage you to go for it today and order before you're ready. That's my that's my sales to you. Um, and also, for those of you that do pre-order, you can get access to the live webinar on the 14th of October, called "From Stop Waiting, Start Winning." And I'll walk you through a process to help you get into action. It's actually one that I discovered after I wrote the book, which is really exciting. It came as a result of it. And if you want access to that and you have pre ordered, DM me on Instagram the word winning and I'll send you the link to it. If you're listening to this podcast way off in the future, then the book will be out and you'll be able to get it and get your copy. You can find it on Amazon or wherever you buy your books.
And
Start
hopefully
before
while
you're
I'm
ready.
still alive.
Yeah, I really do
It's
hope
way
that
out in the
that's the
future.
case. And who knows? Me and Star might be on our fifth or sixth books at that point. You never know. But I appreciate you for tuning in, for listening to the episode, and for spending the time with us. Again, Star, thanks for coming. If you want to connect with Star, you can find him on Instagram or TikTok at Star Jesse Taylor. Any ways that you want people to connect with you, Star?
Yeah, just on my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Star. Just reach out to us, guys. If you resonate, um, share that. We always love people saying, because we like podcasts, because it's like deeper. It's a deep. We go deeper into it, and people who listen. If you listen to this, I know if you came this far, I know you care about, you resonate with this, and you care about growing. So yeah, reach out, tell us you love the podcast, and check out whatever you resonate with. We're very much like whatever you resonate with. Do what your heart tells you, and if you resonate with anything, you can always reach out to us, John Prince, the perception coach, or me, Star Jesse Taylor, and hopefully we're gonna do more episodes.
Thank you so much for joining us on the episode today. If you have enjoyed it and you do enjoy the podcast, please rate it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps the podcast to reach more people and really means a lot. And also, please go and check out Star's book, the Emotional Fitness book. I've read it myself. I love the book. I recommend it to so many of my clients. Anyone that gets stuck trying to fix or solve their feelings or their blocks before they get out and take action. It's a beautiful book with amazing illustrations, and it's so easy to digest and absorb. I read it in either in a day or like 2 days. I read it cover to cover, packed full of value as always with Star. But definitely go check it out. You won't regret it,
Yeah, I
and
put so
you
much
can find that
love in
on
it.
stage.
Like same thing as you. Like writing a book is important because it's your first book, you know? So I definitely put so much love in it and always thought about putting value in it. And that's why I put animations in there to explain the concepts better with the alien and the brain to see people understanding the algorithm. So I'm excited for you guys to check out both of our books and let us know how you resonate with it and if you and that you enjoy them. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, go check it out. You won't regret it. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you. And I'll see you on the next episode.
See you
Big
guys
love.
soon. Bye.